which implies that there will be something else. What are your plans there?
All right, we are hoping to have hot seat. I can't give you an ETA.
Sure.
Even if I knew an ETA, which we won't say whether I do or not. But but I can't give you an ETA on that. But
Okay.
before release, we plan to have hot seat, and we are planning to have play by email. We want
play by email is
yes, yeah. We want a much more. We want to offer more than that. We want to. I mean, ideally, we would like to have a server where you could meet people and
Sure.
get into a game and play each other. But the way how that is going to take shape, we're going to have to get in and actually discuss things with the community.
Now,
And because things like turn time limits, should we have them? Should that be agreed upon when you create the game? There's just a lot to it in a game like this where you go. Some people, you get out 400 or 500 turns, and you'll have people taking 25, 30 minutes before they end their turn.
Paul, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
We have some experience there. We like to joke that Paul will take a year to do his turns, and we'll play another game.
Yes. A very close friend of mine, in Master Magic in the original, when it got a little late in game, he would take more than I timed him. He would take more than an hour between turns. I don't have what it takes to do that. I don't know. I don't have the patience or whatever it is.
So,
yes, multiplayer.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So, another question that has been a crowd pleaser apparently is, what is my town name? And I'm going to attempt this. Kawawotama. Kawawotama? Is that sure? I like that answer. Not.
We one of the things we did during our Kickstarter, by the way, if you pledged at a certain level, it was the mayor level, and you got to submit a town name with the stipulation that it isn't offensive and this and that.
Sure.
And we got I don't remember how many mayors we had, but it was a lot of them, and some of them just seemed to have put together an assortment of letters. And you go, sure. I mean, if you can pronounce that, great. That's I can't.
Okay, so something... Now, by the way, guys, this is an excellent opportunity to tell you. This game is definitely early access, which means it's not finished, it still has bugs.
Yes.
And more importantly, it's still taking direction from the community. Now,
Yes.
I seem to be hung up here because I did something silly. I tried to engage an event... And then, when it didn't engage, I thought there might not have been one there and ended my turn. And that's caused a hang-up that I can't get past. So I'm going to close Worlds of Magic and get back into it. Give me just one moment, folks.
Okay, yes, and these things can happen.
Yeah. And that's, that's early access for you. And I will talk about early access a little later in the program. And, that's what this stream is based all around, is titles that are not fully released yet, but that you can get excited about and start playing now. And I think,
absolutely.
How's your experience been with early access? We can just talk about that now while I'm getting set up again.
It's been very interesting, and really overwhelmingly positive is how I describe my experiences so far, because you get people that do not understand, they haven't read, they grab the game, they run into a bug, and they immediately flip out.
Yeah.
And you go, but fortunately, that is really, that's the exception to the rule. Most people understand, okay, this is early access, we're going to run into problems, we're going to run into bugs, and they got no problem submitting bug reports, which helps us. We're a small independent development team, and it helps us, really just track down bugs super, super quickly, way more quickly than we would normally be able to with our team. And on top of that, it also allows them to give us feedback that is not necessarily bug related, where it's they don't like this or that aspect, or this needs a tweak or that needs a tweak. Just recently a guy got on and said, look, I can't make any gold. Is the game supposed to be this economically challenging?
Yeah.
And we were able to say, well, no, we've got some mechanics that are on the way that are not quite in place, and we'll make that a little bit easier actually a lot easier to deal with. But people are able to come up and not just, like I said, they're able to, yes, if they find a bug, they can submit it. We're going to hunt it down, obviously. But they can also say, this unit's underpowered, this unit's overpowered, this spell doesn't do enough damage, this spell costs too much mana to cast, whatever it is, and we can take that feedback and do something with it. I mean, the game is still in development. So it's not just an opportunity to buy a game and play a game. You can get in on early access and actually have an influence on the final product. You can literally get in and help make it a better game.
So, and thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
We have a couple of other questions. Minimal
Sure.
system requirements. First off, there is a big one. You have to have a 64-bit processor and operating system. So just heads up there, that is a big flag. Make sure that you have that. But can you tell us a little bit more about the expected system requirements?
Yes, I was going to pull it up actually so I could just read it right off the page so that I make sure that I don't misspeak. I will say this about the 64-bit requirement. We are working on that. There's actually an issue that we ran into that we were not expecting, and it is not meant to be 64-bit only. That is the case right now officially. However, we do have players out there playing it on 32-bit.
Okay, cool.
And
so some of them, it is working.
Yes, it is, and we are constantly. It mainly ended up being a matter of we were going beyond the memory limitations of
Gotcha.
a 32-bit operating system, and mainly because we hadn't tightened things down. Right now,
Okay.
things are very. And yes, I actually can't. I Steam's page is down, and I can't pull up the systems. And I'm not going to step out on a limb and tell you from memory. I'm going to read them in a few minutes when
Nice.
I can get the
No
Steam
worries.
page up.
And while you work on that, how does one get early access? Actually, that's one of the coolest things about early access. If you have Steam, you have access to early access. Basically, what happens is you buy into the program early, you pay for the game, and you, like Minecraft, you get all updates for free. Unless they put out DLC and stuff, and that we'll tackle that later.
Yeah.
So you get all future stuff for free, and you can influence it as you go. And this is all on Steam, and it's fantastic. You see a lot of overlap with Kickstarter too. Now so I'm gonna go ahead and answer this one for you.
Sure.
Somebody asked if if you guys are planning on console or maybe even mobile development, and I'm gonna hazard a guess and say no.
We are.
Oh, whoa! I am totally wrong.
Yes.
Go ahead.
There's going to be as far as console development, I can tentatively say PlayStation 4 is basically, we know how we're going to handle that. And with the mobile, we've got to do some reworking. But see, that's part of the reason that this is. I anticipate. I cannot say this for sure. But I anticipate just in the progress we've made over the last 6 weeks or so, I feel like by release we are going to be able to say it's fine on a 32-bit system.
Very cool.
We've got to get it that way. It was actually part of our Kickstarter. One of our Kickstarter goals was to get it on mobile platforms. And I don't think there are people that want to try to play Worlds of Magic on a cell phone. Personally, I think that's insane. Look at the size of the map. Look at the size of the screens you're going to be navigating. But a tablet, a good sized tablet, a 10-inch tablet or whatever. Okay, sure, I can see that, and we're going to aim for it. I mean, that's enough. People have mentioned it that there's no question. People want it, and so we are going to try to do that, and actually very, very confident we are going to do it. I can't give an ETA, but it will be reworked. And like I said, the 32-bit limitations, it's getting better. But I mean, if you're willing to play it on like the lowest settings, if you go back to the start game, if a single plane that's small, you should be able to play it on a 32-bit system.
Very cool.
We got people playing it, so yeah.
So real quick, I'm gonna check. Okay, so I'm not. Somebody asked how randomized works, and I don't know exactly what that means. Do they mean randomized world, randomized player? Do you have any insight on any of those?
I could talk about any of it.
Okay.
If we knew exactly what they were asking.
Sure. So we'll go ahead and wait for them. Now I do have some generic questions here. So what's your ballpark estimate on release? And have there been any challenges leading up to deploying the game as version 1.0?
The tentative ETA is first quarter 2015.
Okay.
And we feel very.
It
is. We do feel confident that we're going to be able to hit that. In spite of the trouble that you've run into with this build.
Yeah.
There's another new build right around the corner. We rolled out some changes last week, and it's always, you put some big changes out there and you run into a bunch of little bugs that you missed.
Yeah.
And that's another beautiful thing about early access, by the way, is it brings so many people in that people do all kinds of little different tinkery type things. I found a bug the other day where I was just idly, I as it turns out subconsciously, I messed with the menu items when the AI is making its turn.
Yeah.
And it would cause problems. So the more players you have in there, the more you can find the bugs.
Right.
But actually, the game's core mechanics are in place, and they need balancing, and there are a few little side mechanics that need implementation. And all of it needs polish, and a lot of it needs graphic improvement. Like some of the menus and stuff that you're looking at need they're going to be beautified.
Yeah.
But really, we feel very confident that first quarter 2015 it's going to happen.
Cool.
And there you had a two-part question there. What was the other one? Trouble hitting version 1.0.
Yeah. Like what difficulties have you run into so far?
Oh, all kinds of things, crazy things. There have been all kinds of just unexpected bugs because of the wide range of hardware and different operating systems.
Sure.
People running into that 32-bit wall for months and months and months. We had played it on some 32-bit systems, and everything was fine. And we just, kind of gotten the idea that, no, it works fine on a 32-bit system. And then made changes to the procedural generation and, expanded what the game could do size-wise. And so when we came out with, as soon as we put it up for early access, all of a sudden all these 32-bit users couldn't play.
Oh, gotcha.
And, that was major. And all kinds of bugs and oversights that, you didn't think of. And like the look of the world map, the actual visual representation of all the different terrain types and just everything, the way it looks, actually took a great deal of work to get it where it is now, and people still go bananas and want us to change all kinds of things. And you go, look, guys, we're doing what we can, and it has really evolved from where it was originally. But things that you would think of as, when you're laying out your design, you're like, okay, well, we'll do that in 15, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, gotcha.
And you end up working on it for 6 months, and you go, how the world did we take that long? And you go, it's very simple. It took that long. I mean, we've got a procedural generation system that's capable of creating a truly immense universes relatively quickly, and it's the background mechanics for it are just amazing, and it took a great deal of work that on the whiteboard, it was easy. You just write up there, procedural generation. That's only 2 words, man. And then, you run into it, and when you start from the very beginning, my first prototypes were 2D terrain maps showing how the terrain types would be generated in several layers to create world maps. And that worked fine. That was fine. But when you make that transition to, okay, well, now this is a 3D map, and we want a hill to, I don't know, have a hump in it, for instance.
Yeah, right.
It gets much more complex, and so
now,
there have been a lot of little unexpected things. So.
Very cool. So we got some clarification on the randomization question.
Yes.
And they were talking about during magic selection and spell selection. Is it totally random? Like, how does that play into how you start the game?
I would say it is semi-random. I'm going to pull up a page on my Wikipedia to
sure.
or our media wiki. it's not.
Gotcha.
To share in the chat window there, so that
ooh, free gold.
Yes, that is.
Sorry.
By the way, our wiki is immense. You know what? Let me link.